The whole music industry, like people go, because here's what I think happened. People are like, fuck a label, own your masters. But then nobody really said what that meant to anybody. And everybody I talked to who's ever worked at a major label and didn't have a weird experience loved it. And I've talked to more of those in my journey than not. Like, I'm talking about actually worked on a major that I
Yeah.
talked to.
Well,
Nobody
it's
had
probably
shit
better to do
experiences.
both if you can, right? Like
Well, it depends on you. If
if
you
you
want
can
to,
own
you
your
know what?
masters,
If you
it's
can own
not
your
bad,
masters, you still have to now sell your masters because now you're the
and that's what the
label.
label's for.
So now you need to be a marketing guy and a promotional guy or find these people. So now you're basically a label. So, like,
That's what I'm saying. So like if you could potentially get the label deal and still own your masters, that'd be the it'd be
or
a
like,
sweet spot potentially,
even
right? But
like, I mean, what am I going to do with my masters? I can do a lot with what the label does with my masters. I'm not saying I'm right now. I'm saying these are
but
the
if you
mental
don't, I
exercises
think
I
the
have.
problem with the masters is working out any deals. Like you don't have
I don't have
the
a legal.
original, so it's not like the ownership is in question,
I don't care about
right?
that. You know what? I would take shitty cuts of copyright money made on music that like was a percentage or something. That would be more than what I might be able to do in the next 2 years.
Okay, there's shitty cuts which can amount to something, but I think
Or
the
clout,
master's argument comes more
cause
from like deals where it's like I'm giving you this much for the masters and now I own it. You got this much, you can't come ask me for more
bro,
later. So like
all I'm
for
saying is
example,
give me that 5 figures and buy out my shit right now, please. I don't give a fuck
you
about
say that
anything I
now.
own. I say
You
that now for
know,
sure. I don't care.
you know
But
the
I'm not
song
gonna
Bad Boy?
have. But here's the thing: I'm not gonna have this fucking weird remorse for it later on when they're making crazy money on my shit because
You
I'm
might.
conscious and caught. But I am doing this with like the full understanding of what that means because I'm looking at it like that 5 figure infusion right now would change my life forever, and that maybe it's not gonna
That's true.
happen for
And there's
me.
benefits to that too. I'm gonna give
And
you a good
I'm
example.
like,
You know the
I'll
song
just
Bad
write.
Boys?
Yeah, go on.
So it's a group called Inner Circle, a reggae group that is huge throughout the world. Not because of Bad Boys. Most people that know Bad Boys don't know the group name Inner Circle. They get nothing from that. Nothing. Because they signed away early on for I don't know what the amount was. But imagine now looking back, thinking, and again, that song didn't necessarily give them fame because they're not famous in Canada or the States the way they are in the rest of the world, which is where that song is mostly played, not just in
No,
the
I hear
TV
you.
show, but movies, right? So they've got their fame and are very successful touring reggae, like worldwide big festivals. We're talking huge. Inner Circle, if you look them up, you'll see they're big, big, big name. Um, but they don't get nothing from that. So don't you think that they probably feel a type of way
I don't
where
know,
like
man. Because
there
if
was
I'm
so
in,
much money made off of
I feel
this
like
and
that's
y'all
like
didn't give me none of it?
I feel like
Like
that's
you don't
that's
even I
one
wrote
way.
the song.
I feel like that's a way to interpret it, but there's just other ways to interpret it. And I'm going with my current life and everything that I'm facing. I'm like, you know what? Might be nice to have somebody do something like that if the number's right. Like, what am I
Get
gonna
the
do with
numbers
it?
right. But
But
that's the
that's
whole
where,
problem is that
and
the
I
stigma
admit
of owning
that
your masters
people.
or not comes from a time when people were not getting their numbers right. You know what I mean? They were
And
getting
I hear
the
you.
like you might get a $500,000 check for one of your songs tomorrow. If you in 10 years see a guy make 5 billion off it, you don't think you're gonna feel some type of way that none of that
Bro,
money's
if
coming a
somebody
little bit
is
towards
gonna
you?
give me a $500,000 and I can't turn that into something by myself, that's just my attitude, though. So might be where I'm not saying I'm everyone. I'm saying I've spent a better part of a decade having this debate with the world. You know, you kind of get
There's,
an idea, and I know myself now, so I can't tell you what future me might be. It might have a lot to do with it. If I'm successfully touring the world, I'm living my dream. So I'm pretty okay when another man's making money on my shit because I can just figure it out.
I
Now,
mean,
if
that's
I'm hold on, if I'm not living my dream and I'm up in an apartment by myself struggling, I'll be saltier than you would believe. So it has a lot to do with the situation, but I'm saying that I think there's a lot to be said that if I got $500,000 right now, that that would change my life in ways that I want more than I think I could do by owning these particular
but what
intellectual
if they
property
said,
at this time.
all right, never mind the half a mil, you get 100,000 and 10% of everything. You don't think that'd be better?
For Holden right now, I don't know. That's a big question, but I think I could
It
do
is,
more
and
with
that's
half.
really the question, right? And it's kind of like,
Economically, though, I think I'd rather have the half a mil than worry about the 10% because I'm not worried about. Here's where I'm at. I'm so confident in my future self's ability to make money that fuck that shit. I'll do better by myself, is my
that's
attitude.
fair, but you still, there's still like, these guys stole on you.
Did they? Because I went
Yeah,
consensually. But no, I'm not saying for people who are ignorant,
in some
which is.
cases.
I would argue that in the case where you're preying on ignorance and desperation,
Which is
preying
what it
on.
was.
But in the current,
It's, well,
I'm
again, and
like,
that's where I'm saying where the
going.
stigma comes from.
So that's why I'm
It's a
questioning
whole
it
thing.
like now because like this is what I see is a lot of independent artists who don't want to do any of the other work.
Mhm.
So what's the point of owning that master?
I mean, I still think there would be some value in at least having a percentage of your masters, at least. So if some does, and that's just,
No, you're
having
you're, you're
seen
absolutely
so
right.
many people
But we're
get
talking.
screwed over.
So I wouldn't necessarily give everything up for 5 racks. That would maybe be too
The
small.
numbers are pretty irrelevant, really. Like you could change
No,
the
but
numbers up and down,
half a
right?
million dollars, just to be clear, is a number I would take without question, whereas a
Okay.
smaller number I would question. And there's a value point that I don't have figured out where I believe I could
So
do without that infusion. And then I think everyone has to be honest with themselves about how much money they can realistically generate without somebody basically being a patron towards their cause when you take into scope how expensive it is to pay people to do things good for you.
it's just, yeah, man. It's just so like you say now you take the 500 or the half a mil clean.
Mm,
But
that would be without
when you're the
fucking.
record labels and you got a briefcase with $10,000 in it with a group of kids that are 14 to 20 years old,
Yeah,
and like
that's
you're preying
I'm
on their.
and I'm gonna say that I agree with you that predatory practices, which I don't think are as common as they used to be, they're not like
I
what it
don't. I
was.
think you're right about that. I think you're right
So
about that.
and that's why I'm having this is because I keep talking to people who have such positive label experiences, and I'm like, okay. And then I think about all this shit I have to do as an independent artist, because now I'm trying to get my shit together. I'm 33. It's do or die, motherfucker. Like I'm turning 34 in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Fuck my life. So it's like, I can't be like waiting till I'm really out of steam to like get the shit. But then it's like the list of things you really have to worry about and manage. Like booking is a job. Then there's publicist shit, which is where you deal with the blogs and the radios, and you want the radio play because you have the SoCan money and the blah, 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 blah. And it turns into like, yo, I already work and do all this content shit, but this content shit's helpful to get me to the point where I can even attract the help. And basically you have to structure yourself in a company and find people to like, it turns into like you're either running your own independent label or you're attached to a
Yeah.
label because
Yeah.
so what changed? Like that's why I'm bringing it up like that, because I don't
I
think
think a lot of
a
it's
lot of
like
people
there's a
understand the
lot more
scope of it.
openness, right? So many people got screwed, and it eventually ended up coming out that the labels maybe had to be less predatory than they were.
But listen, if that
Um,
label makes that crazy amount of money on my work, it's like cool. And I know that there's a way of looking at it where it might feel like I'm owed a sense of entitlement to it. And I'm not saying that I wouldn't have those moments where I felt salty, but I think like understanding business the way I do now, $500,000 liquid is really different than a number on a paper that mostly got paid out and the net total amount is this, that, the next thing, right? Sometimes numbers is weird.
it's
500
tricky. It's a
liquid,
gamble.
but 500 liquid, it means I have $500,000 in an account that if I do things correctly, I can quit my job and
Yeah,
live the life I want. And I
but I
think I
think the
want that.
mentality is a lot
I
of
want
times.
that more than I want fucking to own some shit in the future and to worry about things. Like that's how I feel. Like I want
I get
that
that,
life more.
and I think part of it is again like it's because of what happened in the past. There's almost like the trauma response now, right? Where it's
But
like
then
that
labels,
500,000 is great, but like you took the thing I made, and I want
bro.
some of
But
it.
then the experiences they're gonna give me back are crazy too if it goes well.
It could be, man. It could
So
go
check
either
it.
way.
Like
Like
I
you could
talked
be
to
the guy
the.
that got.
Do you
You
know who
gotta
the?
wonder why he
Do you,
gave you 500,000. If they gave you 500,000, they think they can make 5 million at least, or
I'm
I don't
super
know what
happy about that.
the
That's cool
percentage
because
is.
they're gonna spend so much money on that shit. It's like millions of
Right.
dollars just to get you on the radio and shit. So like when you understand how expensive it is to really get the reach that they're gonna give you, yo, check it. I talked to the Bad Seed. He was part of the Lyricist Lounge, the Seed dude. He was rolling with Gene Gray and them. So I was like, talk to that dude. He got a record label at Warner. It was good. It didn't work out because Warner consolidated and it went bad, but not like bad because of his experiences. But anyways, he's related to the Mims guy that this is why I'm hot, whatever.
Yeah.
So he was telling me about going on tour with the guy who had the #1 song in the world and what the label did and what the label really can do for you. And I'm like, yeah, no, own my shit. I want that. I can't do that. I could never do that on my own to the scale that they can. So fucking take my shit. Let me have memories that I can't make on my own, please.
Yeah, that's fair, man. I mean,
that's, and I'm not speaking for everyone. I'm just trying to give another side to the coin where I'm at today.
The labels do tons. They do really have the potential to lift you into all sorts of other levels.
I mean, I would love my own indie label.
Personally, I wouldn't be able to give away 100%. You know what I mean?
To be fair, I would love to just write for services, bro. Like, oh, say word, you want me to write you an ad and you own it all and my name's not on it? Bitch, please.
I agree with you there. That'd be a lot different though, right? Like I feel like there's yeah, it is, man. Because you can be more attached to something that's personal than like an ad. You know what I mean? There's a difference between doing a beautiful graffiti scape on a wall and wanting to get recognition for it, and then getting paid $400 to spray paint the whole house one color. You know what I mean? Like one is a job and one is art.
Well, to be fair, right? I would argue that if I'm getting paid to write a song, now I got to write a song and I'm a songwriter doing my full maximum potential. Now it may be on a topic that is not Holden. It's still going to be an art piece I love, bro.
It's true, man. And I feel like you'd still be smarter to at least own a little bit of it so that it keeps hitting you later on.
Because like I look at it like end of the day, the real money's not in that. It's in like, I'm going to be real. This is my big strategy, everyone. I would love to be able to just charge people $200 to tell me have me teach you how to Google. Because my $200 an hour of me teaching you how to Google will save you that much time that it's worth $2. The more of those opportunities I get, the more I can make that kind of money per hour on my own efforts.
But that's not, what does that have to do with art or hip hop?
Oh, I'm just saying the money side of it, right? Because this is all about the money side of it. So
that's teaching, right? Like,
but the ownership side of it is all about cash. It's just business to me. What will make me, Holden Roy, the most over 10 years? The rest of it is fucking irrelevant to me.
I mean, I feel like I've heard a lot of artists talk about residuals and stuff that they live off of just because they owned a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, Mr. Mix-a-Lot doesn't have to do anything ever again if he doesn't want to.
Fair, but I like the service economy.
Maybe that's one case in a million. I don't know. I don't know the numbers.
I do think that I am not that guy at 33 with the lack of fame in my life, to be honest. So I have to think a little more grounded and realistically about things.
I suppose that makes sense.
And I think it's a lot more attainable that in the current market to think about it less like a retail economy, which is where the label shit gets kind of like confusing to me because there's less money in retail and a lot more money in services, which is why I do a lot. So if you support me, you know you're going to get a lot. What is it going to be? I don't know. It might evolve. I might even go in directions you don't like. If you are a big fan of my album reviews, you'd be kind of salty maybe that I'm not on that right now. But the fact is like, I'm going to do a lot. And I'm not worried about making money on the sales or ownership or ads of a particular episode. It's more like I just want to find a lot of people that are down to like throw money at me because they think I'm cool or they fucks with what I do.
That's fair. If you get enough people that'll follow you,
I think that's an easier.
That's valuable as hell.
There's currently a dude spending $25 a month, and it baffles me.
That's incredible.